Joining us now is a person who suffered an unimaginable loss, truly, from gun violence. Manuel Oliver's son, Joaquin, was killed in Parkland in that school shooting back in 2018. He has been a gun safety activist ever since. And Manuel, thank you again for being with us today.
Thank you, Zorlina. It's a pleasure seeing your face and being in your show.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So I'd like to start by getting your reaction to the bipartisan deal announced over the weekend. I mean, you tweeted, quote, "I don't celebrate an agreement that comes out after innocent people are killed by political inaction. I consider this a slow reaction." I mean, lay out what you mean by that. Obviously, a deal is better than no deal, but it does happen after an unimaginable amount of loss and suffering.
Correct. I mean, it's not a coincidence that we were on Saturday in D.C. Calling things by their right name. And I was actually calling for a national strike of students. Avoid.com is a thing that there's a lot of people already signing for it, because this is it. It's time to pay for the consequence of not doing anything. And then suddenly, yesterday, we got this agreement, which is so far only an announcement. I mean, it's not even a bill yet. It's not on President Biden's desk. So the whole euphoria, the whole celebration around it, I don't buy it. I'm in the same position until I see things signed and effective and taking place and already working and saving lives.
I think that's a realistic assessment, given the fact that we've been through so many mass shootings, and there's always sometimes maybe even a glimmer of hope that there could be an agreement, but yet there's no legislation. In terms of, your optimism, I saw a video over the weekend on your Twitter feed, as you said you were in D.C., and you said this time would be different. Is there anything that you are sort of hanging your hat on that does feel different about this particular moment versus after any of the other shootings?
Our attitude is different. We are not being pleased by an announcement, and that needs to be very clear. Our attitude is different because more than 500,000 people marched on Saturday around the whole nation. Our attitude is different, and that brings the fact that they have to react different. When we hold this and control more the situation, when we put ourselves in a position where we can really demand, because that's not where we are right now. We keep saying, I demand, but they don't pay attention to that. So we need to have control. We need to create disruption so they really react. And again, it's not a coincidence that they came out with this a few hours after we were in DC. They saw the reaction and they know that there's a consequence now. So they have to move fast, by the way, because every single day counts.
One of the things I think isn't different in this moment is that March for Our Lives is, I mean, you're a parent of a student that was killed in a massacre, but March for Our Lives is led by a lot of young organizers, young survivors of gun violence of all kinds. Speak to the fact that this movement is being led by parents like you, but also by young people, and how they're organizing themselves in a political capacity to get this accomplished because their lives are at stake.
Listen, let me answer this way. Patricia and myself, we decided that Joaquin Oliver will become an activist and not a victim. And he will be part of March for Our Lives. So Joaquin works along with these kids. And yes, you're totally right. You don't mess with the youth. The youth will have the final call because they own the future. And they got it. These are not kids anymore. The Portland kids went to college. So now they know exactly what to say, when to say it, and what to do. So back to the hope. The hope is on those kids that include Joaquin and the power that they just put out there in all of us. We as parents, we better get on board or move apart. Patricia and me, we decided to get on board.
Manuel Oliver, it's always great to talk to you. Thank you so much for being here, and please stay safe.